Hey, and welcome to another episode of Between the Sheets with me, Dr. Love. Today, we're talking about intentional dating. I want to talk about dating with clarity in 2026 because the landscape is changing. And can we be honest? Modern dating does need to shift. Some of you have basically been doing a second job. You got a job, like an actual job. You've got life's admin, you've got kids, you've got pets, and then there's the dating admin. You're swiping, decoding, rewiring messages, pretending that you're all chill about it, but you're definitely not. You're not feeling chill. The wild part is that most of you aren't really dating just for entertainment. You actually want something real. So today we're going to talk about that. Intentional dating and what it is and why it's having a moment in Australia. This is what the research is showing about singles right now. Right now, in 2026, people want to date without losing control of their nervous system. And when you think about intentional dating, it's not boring dating. It's not let's get married tomorrow. Intentional dating is clarity. It's clarity and aligned behavior. What that means is that you know what you're looking for. You date in ways that support you and you stop confusing attention with intention because attention's easy. Someone can text you, hey, every couple of days, and technically that's attention, but intention looks very different. Intention is consistency, effort, clarity, follow through, momentum. It's emotional availability. So if you've been living in this gray zone of a situationship, getting mixed feelings, getting ghosted, the ups and downs of dopamine hits, intentional dating basically is going to be your exit strategy. And I see this all the time. Someone says they want a relationship, but they keep choosing people who can't even commit to a dinner date. So your goal of wanting a relationship and your behavior of choosing someone that can't follow through are not aligned. And then you want to call it bad luck. Luck's got nothing to do with this. It's a bad pattern. And here's what I love. The research is finally catching up with what I'm seeing in real life. I've been talking to the team behind the Coffee Meets Bagel dating app, and some of the data they've shared with me confirms what so many of you have been telling me. People are actually done with these dating games, and love is back on the top of the list. So over half of the Gen Z and Millennials are actually prioritizing finding true love in 2026, even above finances, health, and career. This makes me happy. It makes perfect sense. After the last few years, people are craving something steady and something real. So many things in our lives are so transactional. We are shifting from hustle culture to love culture. Doesn't that sound so much better? It just gives me this sense of relief. Ambition is not going to disappear, but connection is going to feel like the new form of success. You guys are stuck in this dating loop where dating feels so hard, and the cost of being uncertain or feeling like it's a mess is the cost of uncertainty. Now, dating at the moment, it's getting better, but it does feel like a mess because the desire for love is high, but the dating landscape has been training people to act like they don't care. And the research does show about 91% of people find modern dating apps really challenging. There's ghosting, there's burnout, there's endless swiping, there's shallow connection, and it's really frustrating. And the one thing you can take away from this episode is that ambiguity is emotionally expensive. It makes you overthink. It makes you self-abandon. It makes you perform instead of connection. It's not a job interview. Intentional dating is basically saying, I'm not available for confusion as a lifestyle, which means if you're on the apps or even in real life, if someone is ghosting you or you've been ghosted, not only is it annoying, it really starts to mess with your sense of reality. You start thinking, what did I do? Was I too much? Was I not enough? Did I say too much too soon? Did I open up? Was I too... All of that. So let's look at why ghosting happens or where it comes from. A lot of the time, we're looking at conflict avoidance. We're looking at emotional immaturity. We're looking at overwhelm and dating burnout. People collecting attention with no intention. Sometimes ghosting is about safety for the person. And I know that sounds different or lands differently, but it is. Most of the time, someone is just avoiding being uncomfortable or having deep conversations. And maybe that's your answer, that they're not for you. But this is why intentional dating matters, because when people date without intention, the human cost is huge. So what I've developed is a framework. There's a 4 pillar framework that I put together, and I want you to try and use it. I'm going to give you some examples because I don't want this to be a theory. I want this to be something that you can actually use. So the first pillar is around clarity. Clarity is knowing what you're looking for and saying it early on. For example, if you're dating to build a relationship, your energy should not be going into somebody that says, I just want to see what happens. That does not mean they're a villain. It just means that they are not the right person for you. Clarity sounds like, hey, I am really dating with intention. I want something real to happen here, and I'm open to building it with the right person, showing they're committed and they're clear about what they want. So clarity is important. The second one is consistency. Consistency is the behavior that repeats, not the vibe that you're getting that spikes up and down, not those dopamine hits. It's consistently showing up. Someone plans a great first date and then they disappear for 5 days and then they come back and say, oh, sorry, I've been really busy. That's not romance. That's not dating with intention. That's emotional whiplash. Consistency looks steady. It's steady interest. It's follow through. It's effort. It's effort you don't have to beg for. It's momentum. The third pillar is all about boundaries. Now, boundaries are the standards that protect our nervous system, basically protect our values and our goals and everything about what our future is going to look like. If someone messages you after 10 p.m., it may feel uncomfortable for you or may not sit well for you. Don't make it mean that you're not enough or you feel like an afterthought. Just put in a boundary. Maybe this is how this person dates. Maybe they're nocturnal. And using boundary language could sound something like this. Hey, I'm more of a daytime dater. I'd love for us to talk and plan when we're both switched on. Boundaries aren't about controlling them. They're about leading yourself into something that is going to feel successful. Don't set yourself up for failure. The fourth pillar is momentum. And momentum means that connection keeps moving forward in real time, in real life. So for example, if you've been texting someone for 3 weeks and still haven't met, you're not dating. You guys are just playing with a pen pal type of chemistry. Intentional dating says, I'm enjoying chatting with you and see how it translates in real life. No pressure. Momentum's not pressure. It's just direction. Okay. So let's recap. If you want a simple way to check if you're dating intentionally, make sure you are clear, clarity. You want to make sure the behavior is consistent. Are you getting the spikes? Are you getting a whiplash, or are they being consistent? Are your boundaries there? Are you moving forward? Because intentional dating isn't about being rigid. It's about choosing clarity over confusion and connection over dopamine spikes. That's how you stop repeating this pattern in relationships with a different person. Same issue, different person. And when people start dating from that place, you can see why commitment is going to make a comeback. And this is what we've been waiting for. That's why when you look at the stats, at least 59% of Australians are saying they are dating to marry. And it makes sense. It doesn't mean everyone is trying to lock down a wedding venue. That's not what that is. It just means people are tired of wasting time. Dating to marry is just dating with direction, being able to be clear about what you want and the person meeting you in that clarity. You are not confused. If someone is serious, you won't have to decode the behavior. There's no FBI work here. And when you've been through enough emotional confusion, clarity starts to feel like the sexiest thing on earth. And now this is where I actually get hopeful, because the landscape is changing and so are some of the apps, the dating apps. And I've been looking around lately to see which apps are actually doing intentional dating really well. And there's not many. There are some that are talking about it. There are only few that are designing the app for it. And the one that actually stood out to me is the Coffee Meets Bagel app. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they have been around for a while. I think they've been around in Australia since about 2015. And I love the philosophy behind how they built this app. The Coffee Meets Bagel app has a really cool story. It started with 3 sisters in New York in around 2011. It was because they looked at the dating scene and thought this high volume swiping thing is creating mental fatigue and shallow connections. What's really interesting is that this has been available to us in Australia since 2015, but it wasn't until just recently they had a small soft launch that I noticed. And just in January alone, after speaking with them, they reported like a 500% increase just in January of 2026. And it doesn't surprise me because people are wanting the same thing right now. From a relationship psychology perspective, from a relationship expert perspective, what I like is when an app is designed to actually support healthy dating behavior, not this dopamine chase, not this addiction that you have to a person. So what stands out to me in this app is the things that matter. They have something called a noon push, and I'd never heard of this before. But this is where they curate matches for you on a daily basis. So instead of you endlessly swiping, you get these set of bagels, hence the name, once a day. So you're not having to do this never-ending scroll. And psychologically, this is actually a big deal because this endless chase or this endless choice that you have ends up messing with your brain. And when you have too many options, you don't necessarily choose better. You actually choose more anxiously. You become a little bit more pickier, a little bit more avoidant, and you have a thought that, oh, maybe the next one is better, just one more swipe away. So when these daily curated bagels are made for you or given to you, it gives you an opportunity to know the real person. It's not a one-stop shop looking for perfection. That's not what it is. The other thing I like is that it's got an anti-ghosting feature. Yes, with any inactive chat, it expires after 7 days. So if you are talking to someone and all of a sudden they ghost you, that chat will expire. Now, I know it sounds small, but it does reduce this pen pal trap that you get into where you're just texting every now and then. You'll go weeks of chatting, those little dopamine hits, but no actual date. And then it fizzles out. You feel rejected even though nothing really happened. So this feature just simply nudges people towards momentum, gets you moving towards real life connection, which then protects your time and your heart, not to mention the mind loops that you keep having, the overthinking. The third thing it's this intentional first move, where instead of just liking someone's whole profile, you're responding to something specific, either a prompt, a photo, a particular detail that stands out to you. And this totally changes the tone immediately because there are so many dating apps with this low effort vibe. Hey, how are you? They're the texts that you get. And you're just left with it basically to carry the emotional labor of making it meaningful. So this feature actually increases the likelihood of a message that feels like someone has seen you, like you're not just the next best option. The fourth thing I like about this app is the detailed profiles and value prompts. So Coffee Meets Bagel leans more into values, intention, what you're looking for. And I love this because compatibility isn't just we have great banter. Compatibility is how you handle conflict, what you value, what you want to build, what your future looks like, what your goals are, how you communicate. When people are clearer up front, you actually reduce the biggest source of dating pain, misalignment. It helps you stop dating someone who's emotionally unavailable or who's unable to meet your needs. The fifth thing on this app that was quite interesting is the activity reports, this transparency tool that they've got. And it's around how engaged someone is, their response rate, their activity. And the reason why this matters is accountability changes people's behavior. We've spoken about that in other episodes. There are apps where people can just disappear with zero consequences. And when that happens, they will take that exit. But when a platform creates even just a gentle accountability, it encourages people to act like adults, especially if you're a serious dater, if you are there for the same reason. So really the bottom line is I'm not saying that any app is perfect. What I'm saying is the direction is shifting away from this mindless exploration of who's out there or who's next and more towards an intentional dating landscape. And that's really good news, especially for anyone that's tired of it all. No app is a magic wand. If it encourages changed behavior or engaged behavior, I actually think that's a win. Now, the other thing that's changing the dating game is AI. So apparently we're not just outsourcing our groceries or, like me, some of my admin work, we're outsourcing our first messages when we're dating. And research is actually showing that people are using AI to craft these messages and polish up their profiles. But this is not such a bad thing. It's not replacing human connection. It's just responding to this dating anxiety that people are feeling, especially if you're new in the dating field. People are using it to find the right words when they feel nervous. So if it's used well, AI can actually support clarity. It can support you being clear about your message, but it can't support performance. Real connection only happens when people eventually show up as themselves. If you are using AI and AI becomes your personality, gorgeous, you're not dating. Your algorithm is. Okay, so let's get practical. Here is your intentional dating checklist for the week. The first thing I want you to do is state your intention clearly. Just one line. Dating with intention, open to a real relationship. Straightforward. The second thing I want you to do is ask one value-based question early on in your conversation. Not the BYD, what you're doing, not that. I want you to ask, what does a great relationship look like to you? It may not be that exactly, but you get what I mean. Something that's values driven. The third thing I want you to do is move to a real date within 7 to 10 days. If they can't or if they won't, they're usually not serious about dating with intention. Number 4, I want you to choose quality over quantity, less swiping and more depth, less burnout. That's what we're looking for. And the fifth thing is I want you to pick environments that match your intention. And this could mean using an app built for serious daters or simply just changing how you're using the app that you're on. And that might look like fewer matches, zero boundaries, a better profile description, a little bit more momentum, moving it forward. So if you felt burnt out or you've got swipe fatigue or you feel like online dating isn't for you, you might even say, I'm bad at dating. It might not be that at all. It's just this chaos of endless options that have no substance. And it's your nervous system being triggered. And if that's you, your system is probably craving clarity and intention, not these games, not these dopamine hits. So I actually want you to give this new dating landscape a go. If you're an Aussie and you are single and you are tired of feeling helpless in this dating scene, maybe you should give an app like Coffee Meets Bagel a go. I know that you'll be seeing a lot more of this app come up because honestly, 2026 is asking for it. I think we all want the same thing right now. We want quality over quantity. We really want those clearer signals. We want shared values. We want real goals and we want momentum. We all want to keep moving forward. I'm going to leave this episode with you. And if this actually hit home for you, or if you feel like you should send this to a friend who keeps dating a potential and then, crying in your voice notes saying, I just can't get it right, I probably suggest that you send them this episode, but also maybe suggest a download of the app. They've got a free and a premium version that you could choose from. So I think that's it for me today. I'm going to love you and leave you, and I'll see you on the next episode. This is Dr. Love.